Today we're going to talk about engraving and where to start for beginners. Most of us have seen wonderful examples of engraving either on guns or knives, which inspired you to want to do this yourself. Now, engraving, what you need to realize, is a very skilled discipline that you need to learn to be able to do this, and that takes time. You need to self-evaluate before you actually want to start engraving. Ask yourself a couple of questions. Am I physically suited to engraving? In other words, do you have good eyesight? If you do not, can you wear spectacles or glasses, prescription glasses, to correct your vision? If not, you've got a major drawback, major setback. It'll put you back. It might not be the best thing for you to try and do. I'm not dissuading you. By all means, give it a try. But if you've got a physical disability, let's say rheumatoid arthritis, for instance, where you've got constant pain in your hands and joints, you're going to struggle with engraving. Just decide if you are suited to this and you want to take this further. Once you've self-evaluated, the next best thing to do is to take a basic engraving course from an existing engraver, somebody that gives courses. That way you can get a feel for engraving and decide, do I want to continue with this, or is this not quite the thing for me? The next thing to do is, the best thing that you can do for engraving is get yourself a pencil and paper and start drawing scrolls. Learn the basics of scroll design, learn the basic rules of good scroll design. This will help you tremendously in your work. Just remember that even if you can cut with a graver and you've got poor design skills, your engraving will never be of a good standard. You can actually degrade a high quality knife or gun with bad engraving design instead of improving the value with good engraving design. Even if you've got good cutting skills, without the design skills, you will never reach a level where your work stands out as being special. Another thing to remember is it's always easier to learn good habits from the start. That's also why I advise you, please do take a course from an engraver. Do not just focus solely on YouTube videos or online tutorials. There's certain things in hand engraving that these tutorials will not correct you if you do them wrong. Inadvertently, if you focus solely on videos and tutorials, you will learn bad habits that you need to unlearn later on. This will take unnecessary time, and it's more difficult to unlearn something than it is to learn the right way from the start. Just remember as well, decide when you do your first course, is this something that you enjoy doing? Do you want to continue with it or not before you start buying equipment and tools? If you go the route of air gravers, pneumatic air gravers, this can be a quite costly exercise. You do not want to spend all this money on equipment that you won't use in the end. The pros and the cons of different engraving equipment and engraving styles are as follows. You get your air gravers, which is the modern type of engraving with pneumatic air gravers. That would be the ideal route to go if you want to save time learning, but it's very costly. It is expensive. Please do not buy the cheap Chinese or knockoff brands that are made out there. The after-sales service is poor to non-existent. The quality of equipment is questionable. You always have problems that you can't solve. If you want to learn the old traditional hammer and chisel way, that's fine. The plus point with this is the equipment is cheap. It's easy to make yourself if you need to. If you know somebody that's got experience on a lathe, they can actually make a chisel holder for you easily. But the problem is with that, the learning curve is longer. It's more difficult to learn hammer and chisel engraving. So yeah, you take the spin-off between price and then the learning curve. Hand pushed, very much the same thing. The tools are cheap, the learning curve is much longer. It's also not suited for harder materials. It's more suited to softest materials like copper, brass, silver, gold. Hand push is ideal for that. Now another thing that I hear so often from people who want to learn engraving is, do I need a microscope? And no, you do not. Most of the time all you need is a basic good quality magnification headset and a hand lens. This is all you really need. A microscope is not the best thing to get. From the start, it is very expensive to buy a proper quality microscope with good optics. You can do very good quality work without it. So don't spend money on a microscope from the start. The next item that you will need is a proper quality engraver's vise. You can make do with home-built vices in the start if you need to, but if you want to start doing professional work or good quality work, a good quality sturdy engraver's vise with a smooth action is a must. Another thing that you need to keep in mind is your workspace, your table. You need a sturdy table. You don't need a lot of space. You just need a sturdy table to put your vise on, have good lighting, your magnifying headset, the engraving system of your choice. That's all you basically need. You don't need a lot of space. Another thing is, guys ask me, how long will it take for me to be any good at engraving? This is very much a personal thing. Not all of us learn at the same pace. Some people might learn to do proper work within a year. Other people might take 3 or 4 years. Traditionally, engraving was done by an apprenticeship system that took at least 5 years. 5 years of hand engraving under a master engraver before you were considered good enough to be able to go on your own and work for yourself or for a company. So please remember this. Engraving is not a quick do-it-yourself thing that you can learn overnight. Today you do a course, tomorrow you're a master engraver. It does not work that way. But don't be dissuaded. Give it a shot. Maybe you love it. I do. Have a go. Cheers.